So the route behind me is Kamasutra, which is a 12A R here in the Gunks, and get 0 stars in the guide. It was first free ascented in 1974 by John Stannard and Henry Barber. And to climb this, just like this really old school, death crimping, big moves with terrible feet, like as old school as it gets route, was very rewarding to piece this route together and then actually lead it as they did, you know, basically 50 years ago, you know, 49 years ago. It's almost like a look into a bygone era of climbing. It's almost a shame to create this video and show off the beta to this route, because it was a process to unlock the beta, because I was expecting something much easier going into it. If I'm being honest about my opinion on this route, you know, V4 should be about 12A, and I think I would call this V6 bouldering. If you took these 13 moves and put them anywhere on the carriage road, this would 100% be a V6. So if I wanted to sandbag it, I'd call it 12C, but V6 should be 12D. Yet it gets 12A. This route took me 2 sessions. I did it on a hot day. Both days were brutally hot, maybe 85 degrees, 80% humidity. But I just touched the holds now and they feel just as bad as I remember. The first session I actually went ground up on it because there's a pin, and that pin is maybe 15 feet off the deck. I had a single bouldering pad and I was like, let me try it. And I could not stick the moves ground up. There's a video of me falling on that. Next day, came back here and sent it on the first attempt, going ground up again. So even though this is a 0-star route, I do actually recommend people get out on it, which most of the 0-star routes I don't. This one in particular is a look into, you know, a 50-year history of climbing and how climbing has developed today and what it developed from. And I think, even though I call it 12C or 12D, I think the historical sandbag of what they called it, which was 12A in 1974, is maybe you know, something that you should aspire to prove yourself to, right? And that might be some of the utility of keeping this sandbag as hell. There's this good left foot, which I think a slightly taller person would be able to reach this crux stab into this horizontal from that foot, and I can't. I have to use an orange foot smear and another really bad foot in order to make that move. Part of what makes it so hard is how precise that dead point is. And from the ground, that hold almost looks like your typical Gunks finger slot horizontal, and it's not. It's just like a downward sloping, really terrible hold, and then you have to like death crimp match it before you could grab the only okay hold on the route, which is right over the roof. The only piece protecting the crux is a rusty piton. You might be able to fiddle in like a blue ball nut next to it, but because of how sustained these 12 death crimp moves are, I didn't think it was worth the effort of actually trying to get that piece in. So I clipped the piton, run it out over the piton until the final 2 cams.
Keep breathing. Okay. Yep, deep breath, relax. Good job.
Oh God.
You got it. Breathe. Good, relax.
Oh God, I can't relax. I was just maxing out.
Deep breaths.
You could tell by the way I lose my feet and how I'm like sheer panic and my leg is shaking, how I'm totally chuffing my way up this thing that like I was not expecting to get into the crux, and I was basically death pumped by the time I finished it. Once you pull the boulder problem is maybe 5'7" or 5'8" to the top.
Good job. Keep breathing. Good, relax. Breathe. Deep breaths. Good job.
I can't believe I just did that.
So that's the story of Kamasutra. And like I was saying in the video, it's really cool to lead something like that because these guys did it without chalk, they did it without sticky rubber, they did it without even knowing if it actually went. They did it probably with a swami belt and a hemp rope, and it's still just so hard and sandbagged. It's really cool to lead that. You might also be wondering what the little app that we have on the phone is that says, you know, who FA'd at John Stanner 1974 and Henry Barber. That's actually the Gunks app, which has maybe 30 guides now from the Gunks to I think even Joshua Tree and areas all over the Northeast. And that app's available on the App Store. That was made by Christian Fracchia and Byron Igo. Gunks locals forever, and they really put their heart and soul into it with the help of many, many other people who I couldn't even possibly name. But if you want to get on this route and you want to get the most up-to-date data on mostly any area in the Northeast and areas that have expanded outside of the Northeast, the Gunks app is definitely worth getting, especially for Long Island bouldering. And that's it. Thank you for watching.